We wrap up our show today here in Costa Mesa, where folks just like you helped investigators put an end to a string of violent bank robberies. In 2008, this bank was a Downey Savings and Loan, and at the time, eyewitnesses helped police put 5 takeover-style bandits in jail. Jennifer Bauman of OC Crime Catchers tells us that this heist involved a high-speed chase with the crooks throwing the money out the getaway car window.
Tuesday, January 22, 2008, started out as a normal business day at the Downey Savings and Loan on 17th Street until an armed man stormed into the bank with 2 accomplices. The 3 men wearing ski masks and hooded sweatshirts screamed and cursed at customers before they herded them into the bank's vault. A robber, later identified as Joseph Pritchard, pointed a gun at the head of one of the tellers who was on the phone with a customer. When the teller screamed, "Oh my God!" and dropped the phone, investigators say the customer stayed on the line, grabbed her cell phone, and dialed 911 from her home, giving the dispatcher a blow-by-blow description of the bank robbery as it unfolded.
Tell me what you see. I can't see anything. I'm on the phone with him. Tell me. So you're on the phone with him? Yeah, and he goes, get down. Everybody's up. Okay.
A construction worker walked into the bank midway through the robbery.
As the guy walked in, they jumped him, they took him to the ground, they dragged him to the vault. So here's a guy walking into a bank thinking he's just going to do his regular business, and next thing you know, he's jumped and dragged into a vault. So this is one of the more violent crews out there. And I say crew because Johnson ran crews.
Sergeant Steve Torres is speaking of Ronnie Johnson, a convicted bank robber out on federal parole, who used fear and intimidation to manipulate other people.
He's a sociopath. He is a guy who does not care about anybody but Ronnie Johnson.
Johnson got first-timers like Marvin Sanders involved in his violent takeover-style bank robberies by enticing them with promises of big cash.
And Johnson's the type of guy who likes to have people in his debt. You have to earn it, by doing a lick. That's the street slang for doing a robbery.
During this particular heist, the robbers trashed the bank, grabbed money from the teller drawers, then forced customers and employees into the vault.
The robbery actually took a little longer than they had planned, probably about 3 or 4 minutes longer than they had planned, which in the minds of the people that are being herded into the floor on the vault is a lifetime, and some of them actually thought they were going to be executed.
Once inside the vault, the bank robbery crew grabbed even more cash and stuffed it into a red and white striped bag. Then they dashed out the door and jumped into this Toyota sedan driven by Johnson. Following the bank robbery at Downey Savings, Johnson and his men jumped into a stolen car and drove about a half a mile up Raymond Avenue towards Cabrillo Street. Now that's when some residents of this nearby apartment complex noticed the men because they were driving the wrong way on a one-way street. Johnson and his crew dumped the stolen car in this alley near 17th Place. Another resident, tossing out trash, called the cops. The anonymous tipster described how 4 men dressed in black jumped into a Toyota Sequoia, which was driven by Anthony Cassio. A high-speed chase started as Johnson and his crew fled northbound on the 55 freeway, with Costa Mesa police in hot pursuit. Newport Beach's PD helicopter flew overhead, along with the CBS 2 KCAL 9 news chopper. Video of the chase shows the Sequoia hitting speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour, with the robbers eventually tossing cash onto the streets of Inglewood in an attempt to create a traffic jam. In the middle of the chaos, Johnson grabs the gun used during the robbery.
These guys were in and out of traffic, cutting cars off. Johnson was talking about shooting at the police. Everybody's yelling at him, don't do it,
The chase ended when the crew of 5 bank robbers crashed into a palm tree at the entrance of the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. Anthony Cassio and Demetric Smart were arrested within minutes. The other 3 bank robbers disappeared into the crowd.
That's his mask. Okay, DNA came on that, and then this one is Smart's mask, and that's Pritchard's mask.
Investigators used DNA found on the windshield of the smashed Sequoia, ski mask, and gun to figure out who else was inside the vehicle. They also used phone records to figure out who was talking to whom. They even tracked down a photo from the red light camera on 19th Street in Costa Mesa that snapped a picture of Ronnie Johnson's car when he was casing the bank about a week before the robbery. The evidence helped convict the missing trio after they were finally rounded up over the next 9 months.
The DNA was critical because it puts them in the car. It put him right in the car. It corroborates what we knew and we see on the video. But see, Johnson's whole thing was, I wasn't even there that day.
Johnson and his bank robbery crews have been tied to nearly a half-dozen violent takeover-style robberies since 2006, including 2 in Fullerton and 1 in Orange, where Johnson is seen wearing a hat in this picture, snapped by the bank's ATM machine. His mug was also caught on camera during a bank robbery in Santa Barbara, which is the reason Johnson stayed in the getaway car during the Costa Mesa heist, because as he put it, "My face is hot," meaning he could have been recognized because his picture was already on an FBI wanted poster. Even when he was on the run, Torres says Johnson used fear and intimidation to silence potential witnesses.
And they did say, hey, when you arrest him, he will shoot it out with you. So he was the biggest challenge, getting people to talk.
Despite their fears, some people did talk, including tellers who described the trauma of the robbery to 911 operators and eventually on the witness stand.
Okay, did they come in with their guns in their hand? What happened?
Yeah, they jumped over the counters and took over and grabbed us all.
They were scared to death, and it's affected them to this day. You know, I've been in touch with them still, and it's really affected them. So it's a very violent encounter. It's a shock to the senses.
Okay, is anyone hurt?
No,
All right, which direction did they leave?
we were locked in the vault. I don't know.
Employees were locked in the vault.
I mean, that's the vault area. They were herded back there.
Despite all the evidence, there was a hung jury when the case was tried in Los Angeles County. A retrial in Orange County ended with a guilty verdict on the bank robbery, plus extra gun charges. Ronnie Johnson was sentenced last September to nearly 27 years in federal prison. Gunman Joseph Pritchard was sentenced to 15 years behind bars. Casio, Smart, and Sanders got lower sentences after they pled guilty to their roles in the bank robbery.
So there you have it. 5 crooks in custody because a customer and an eyewitness made a phone call. You too can partner with OC Crime Catchers by logging onto our website. Take a look at the surveillance photos of recent Orange County bank robberies. If you recognize somebody, call the tip line. And when you're on the site, make sure to jot down the address of the Vietnam Embassy and urge the ambassador of that country to return Wee Cao to face charges and trial for the double murder. Don't forget to click on the link to the Megan's Law website so you can determine if there are sexual predators living near you. We hope you enjoy our web exclusives and that you will join us again next time when OC Crime Catchers continues to make Orange County a safer place to live.